Hi guys, it's Jessica, and today I'm going to review 2021's Fantasy Island. I was really excited when I was getting a bunch of trailers for this show on my YouTube because I remember Fantasy Island, the movie that played 2020, 2019. The movie itself wasn't very good, but the premise, be careful what you wish for. You go to this island and it fulfills your deepest fantasy, and then the fantasy indoor longing goes dark or sour on you. That's really exciting and interesting. And I think instead of like a one-time 2-hour horror movie, seeing different versions of Be Careful What You Wish for an hour each week reoccurring would be really interesting. And we could get like a whole bunch of fun Fantasy Island lore. Maybe there's someone who's trying to figure out how the Fantasy Island works. They're doing like research or whatever and sending people there as an experiment or trial. They're too afraid to go themselves. Maybe eventually they end up there themselves and their own greatest wish / worst fear starts coming to life. Maybe even their obsession with how Fantasy Island works, they're finding it out by going to the island. The island's revealing itself to them. Like, there's a whole bunch of interesting things you could do. That could either be a reoccurring show or it could be one-off fun episodes that explore like a little element of horror, a little element of that excess and that danger. Obviously, I watched the pilot and found out that this Fantasy Island is not at all like that. It was really disappointing, and I had so little to say about it. It wasn't until I watched the first 3 episodes I felt like I could put together a review or a thought on it. So the first thing I'll say is the production for Fantasy Island is just awful. It is some of the worst camera work, music I've seen / heard in a long time. Music can really make or break a show, and in this case they decided to focus on a lot of happy tropical island music, and oftentimes the show is trying to pull your emotional heartstrings, and it's just hard to be sad about someone's abusive situation when they're playing happy drum music in the background. The shots that they do feel all wrong for the moments. The angles aren't right, there are close-ups when there shouldn't be close-ups, there's obvious green screening going on in the background, the colors feel oversaturated, and I love bright, happy, oversaturated shots, and even I can't appreciate this work. It's just terrible looking. It really made me feel like I was watching a Wii or a Lifetime show versus something of high production. Maybe I was spoiled by watching all these HBO and Netflix shows that were really giving me great angles and shots, dynamic camera movement, and wonderful music. This particular show feels very cheap, and there is a ton of voiceover work. So we'll be seeing landscape shots, and instead of experiencing something or getting a flashback moment, a character will just tell us what we need to know to keep moving. Some of the things they tell us are really unsatisfactory, like one of our main characters is the keeper / maintainer of the island. It's been in her family a long time. She's doing it now. That's what she tells us. That's not interesting. Just let her act as the hotel resort head or whatever and give me no explanation. That would have been better than the explanation you gave me. It would have been more interesting. I could have speculated about how much she knew or didn't know, about whether or not she was something the island had created, or she was a real person. Is she trapped? Is she not? There are so many things that could have been interesting about her character that were just cut off at the head. The choice they had for her acting is just terrible. I don't know if Roselyn Sanchez, who's the actress that portrays her, is a terrible actress, or if they gave her terrible direction, or what the deal is, but it's one of the most wooden, stilted performances I've seen in a long time. It's just awful. She doesn't have any kind of tone depth or pitch variety. Her gestures feel forced and weird. She doesn't seem to respond to things in a natural or organic way. Every scene she is in, which is most of the scenes, is 100 times worse for her being in them. It seemed like in the first episode they were trying to get some of those horror elements across. We follow an older, slightly chunkier news anchor lady who has had some kind of meltdown on screen and is therefore going on vacation. And her vacation, all she wants to do is eat anything she wants without gaining any weight, which sounds like it could be a great horror element. And her backstory, although it's not fleshed out enough or ever discussed in detail, also has a whole bunch of elements that could be horrific and traumatic for us to go through with her. And it culminates in her eating her stepdad and he's like put on over fire like a pig. All of that could have been very horrific and dark, but it's played almost comedically, and it is established at the end of the show that it was either possibly in her mind or something the island manifested for her so that she could have catharsis and move on. Her stepdad, it turns out, has been dead for several years. So whatever happened last night where she thought she was coming to her stepdad being roasted over the open flames is obviously not what happened, or it happened in like a non-literal sense. I mean, I guess it's safe for TV. You can't have one of the people on the island in the first episode leave being happy because they were a cannibal, but it's not scary or gory. And then the other two episodes don't have any of that fear element involved in them at all. It's just like wish fulfillment and wishes that aren't quite making it happen. And I'm really confused, like, what the goal of the show is. I feel like maybe it's supposed to be a fun island scenery show with like a little cozy feel-good plot at the end. But overall, I'd give this a 1-star rating. I'm not going to continue watching episodes, and I don't recommend anyone else watch episodes unless you're just looking for island music play in the background while you're working. And even then, you could just listen to a couple tracks of island music. You don't need this show for that. So that is my thoughts on Fantasy Island. Have you guys watched it? Did you like it or not like it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what I should be watching instead. This was supposed to be my weekly give you guys some opinions kind of show, and it has turned out to be a bust. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!